Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Hacking Self-Storage. So it is Monday morning, and that means we go through our Monday review on Wednesdays. We have another podcast on Fridays. We have another podcast. This Wednesday, I can't remember what the podcast is now. I've all planned it out. It's about something that is underutilized in the industry. And to be honest, it's underutilized in every single industry. But that is fantastic because that is how you can stand out. And what we need to do for our customers is stand out. We need them to know, like, and trust us, because if you aren't working on your customers, then you are leaving money on the table. So we're talking about that on Wednesday's episode. It will be a good one. So you tune in there. Do you know what? This is the second time I actually recorded this. Had a cleaner come in, and I've got some buttons, obviously, on my recording software and stuff. And one of the buttons was press, which meant the audio. So I recorded, God knows how many podcasts, and because I do one every single day for another podcast, and none of it. My virtual assistant emailed me this morning. I woke up to an email saying, "Dane, there's no audio." I'm like, "Oh, for God's sake." So I had to redo it all. Okay, so, right, how many quotes did we have last week? Let's get on with it, chickens. I don't know why I called you all chickens, but there we go. The amount of quotes this week was 67, so still unbelievably positive. And the amount of quotes per day was 9.57. Do you know what? I'm super. I mean, when I tell you the results, you're going to be like, "What? You're super happy with last week?" Yes, I am really, really happy with the results that we got last week. Basically, what has happened is that, as you guys know, if you've been following our results over the last couple of weeks, we increased the prices by 20%. And we know that was 92, 93% full occupancy. So we had every right to raise our prices. And when you raise your prices by 20%, that is absolutely massive. We did it for existing customers, and also we did it for new customers coming in. Now, existing customers, we had to do it over the period of 6 months. So we still haven't increased every single customer. And the reason being is that some of those customers had only just had a price increase, a normal price increase. So we couldn't then email them 3 months later and say, "Hey, guess what? I know you had a price increase 3 months ago, but now you're having a 20% increase now." So we couldn't do that. So we had to be very, very careful in how we did the 20% price increase. Now, what we knew a couple of things. We knew that, obviously, sorry, I've hurt my back yesterday playing football. We knew that it would definitely affect our conversions, and it may well move some of our existing customers out. And we was okay with that, because at the end of the day, revenue is the biggest and most important KPI. We have to protect that revenue, that important KPI. And we have so many other supporting KPIs that support and hold up that number one revenue KPI. So we need to protect that number one KPI. We knew, and we saw in the last few weeks, that the supporting KPIs were beginning to falter. And that could only mean one thing in the future, that the revenue KPI was going to take a hit. So we need to take action. We need to, I've got a new training coming out, but I'm spending a lot of time on, by the way. It is going to be phenomenal. And no, it's not going to be for sale or anything like that. It's just going to be for you guys. And I did, if you're watching this on camera, like, for you guys. And the reason being is that I really do believe that the better educated everybody is in the self-storage industry, the better for everybody, because the worst thing that can happen to me, you, or anybody else is an uneducated operator coming into your area and just completely not understanding the square foot per person per capita. And if we're uneducated, then they're going to open up, and that can only mean one thing. For if it's an over-serviced area, overbuilt out, then that can only mean one thing: prices are going down. So the more education that we put out there, the better for everybody else, because we then people will not be building in over-serviced areas. It'll be only underserviced areas, and it'll keep the prices up for everybody, so everybody wins. Okay, so in terms of the revenue, I could see that it was starting to strain because of the other supporting KPIs. So we need to make sure that we looked at which KPIs were starting to waver, which supporting KPIs, and we could see that it was move-ins and KPIs. And what happens is that there's only move-ins and conversion rates. There were the KPIs that was wavering. And so what we do is that so if you imagine a KPI as a box, and you open the box up, it's like a little engine room, and there's little levers, there's individual little levers in that engine room that you can pull that can make the output better. So for example, in move-ins, then I can't remember what all the levers are, all the levers that we can pull in there are. But say, for example, it might be sales process. Is the sales process okay? Have we got the right bums in the right seats? Are the people answering the phone correct? Are they following the sales process? Is the website correct? Is the website still up and running? Is the website so there's all these little different levers that we can pull. So I went through all these different levers that I've got attached to move-ins and conversions, and the lever that it's kind of like your electric box in your house, your trip switch. So you go across it and you think, oh yeah, that one's tripped out, so we put it back up again. And so that's exactly what we did. So we could see that not only did we increase our prices 20%, we also took away all offers a few months before that. And so obviously that is going to impact conversions. There's no doubt about it. We're more than 20% dearer than Armadillo. But not only that, we're like 30, 40, 50% dearer than other people around the area. So yes, we think we're the best facility out there, the safest, etc. But does the customer perceive, do they think it's value to come with us? And some will, some won't. So we're obviously going to have a decrease in conversion rates, and that means a decrease in move-ins. And so what we wanted to do is we wanted to trip that switch up again and pull that lever basically. And so we looked in that box and thought, oh yeah, offers. So I didn't want to decrease the prices, the standard prices, the street rate, but what I wanted to do is I wanted to increase the offer. So we've gone back to 4 weeks half price, as I told you before. And what's happened with the 4 weeks half price now it's increased move-ins. It's filtering down to move-ins because obviously it takes a few weeks to filter down to move-ins. So next week we'll see bigger move-ins. The week after that, you'll probably see a bigger, more impactful move-ins there. But it's certainly increased, almost double the reservations, the percentage-wise, the conversion rate, what we was at last week and the week before. So it's been a phenomenal success. And it's so simple. To run a self-storage facility is simple. To run a very good self-storage facility and do correct revenue management, etc., and really make sure that it's taking as much bang for the buck, it's difficult. It's not easy. However, when you structure it down, when you have a look at the moving parts, there is only really six or five important KPIs. Number one is revenue, and the rest of them are supporting KPIs. And what we need to look at is okay, the revenue KPI. If a revenue is going down, let's look in the box. Let's look in the machine and see what there is. What sort of levers can we pull to make sure the revenue goes further up? Is it insurance? Are we hitting 15% of our overall revenue? Is it insurance? If not, we can improve that lever. We can pull that lever down because you should be hitting 15%. That's what we want to be hitting is 15%. Is it revenue management? Are we doing the correct amount of are we doing the correct amount of price increases every month? If not, brilliant. Let's move that lever. We can improve the revenue by doing that. There's so many little things that we can do. And then there's move-ins, there's conversion rates. I can't remember the other ones now, but we open that box, open that machine up and say, okay, right, that one's not performing well. The square foot moving isn't performing well. Let's have a look at the levers that we can pull. The quotes, are we getting the quotes? Let's have a look. If we're not getting the quotes, let's open up the machine and see, right, is it the SEO? Is it the website? Is it is it any of the forms broken? Anything is. And so what the training is all about is opening up a machine in the different boxes and going through the individual ones, the individual KPIs, supporting KPIs, opening them boxes up, seeing what sort of levers it is in that machine that we can pull to increase that output. Oh, I absolutely love it. And it's for me, it's made it so simple. And one of the reasons is that my friends are getting in self-storage, and rather than them coming to me all the time and saying, this, I want to just say, hey, guess what? There's the playbook. Bosh. You can see, okay, you aren't getting the quotes you want. Right. Let's have a look. What's the reason for not getting the quotes? What's the levers that we can pull? Aha. We're not very good on SEO. We need to improve our SEO game. And it's like literally a go-to playbook for self-storage. I mean, I'd love to make a book out of it. I don't know if there's enough pages for a book, but yeah, we'll give it as a free PDF download or something like that. I don't know, on the website. So that is coming. When I say soon, it's obviously quite a lot of work. It's with the designers at the minute, and I'm adding more content to it all the time. So to getting back to the original point is that I'm very, very happy with last week because we've seen the fact that, yes, we're getting the quotes, so that's okay. Yes, the revenue's okay, so that's okay. And we go down and say, okay, right, the conversions, we're not getting good conversions. What could possibly be the reason? Is it price? Is it offer? Is it other things? And it's the offers. We haven't had any offers on. And so it's one thing increasing your prices by 20%, but it's another thing. It's a double whammy, bang, 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 if you've actually taking away the offer as well. And so we put the offer back on. And now, by the way, I'm not saying that the 20% increase was a bad thing, because it's been an overrounding success. It's been incredible. It's added about £15,000 to our monthly takings, 15 grand, which ultimately, as you guys know in self-storage, that goes straight to your bottom line. We've had the best month that we've ever had in July. We've had £57,000 net profit in July, which was phenomenal. And so we want to continue this trajectory now. And yeah, it's all about not maintaining, but Willoughby's at 86%, Beverly's at over 90%. So there's not a lot that we can do around these facilities. All we can do now is open up Clough Road and obviously move the Beverly site to that indoor one. And continue that. So we're really, really, really over the moon. Right, so let's get on with the quotes then. Amount of quotes last week was 67, 9.57 quotes per day. As I said, number of reservation is 18. So we had 18 reservations last week. That is a conversion rate of 27%. So we're already straight back up there where we should be with conversion rates. And it's just pulling the correct lever. We've just had to find out what lever was broken and fix it, pull it, and that's it. We're back up there now, 28%. So over the moon with that. Number of new move-ins was 10, which was a conversion rate of quotes to move-ins was 15%. It's obviously not where we want to be. We want to be at least 20% to 25%. That's where we want to be on that one. However, let's not forget that the amount of quotes we got this week, you wouldn't be seeing those move in. So you'll see the move-ins normally take effect from the week after, the week after, the week after, the week after. People reserve in advance. They don't come, or very rarely come that day and say, yeah, I'll have a unit. So yes, it's not good now, but it will be in the future. I mean, don't forget, if we only had 40 quotes this week and 10 move-ins, then it would have been a 25% conversion rate. It's only because we had the amount of quotes we've had that the conversion rate looks bad. The amount of move-ins per square foot, the amount of square foot move-ins was 1,000. We had no customers take extra rooms, etc. So we had 1,000 square foot move-in. We're back to the four-figure move-in. We're back to the four-figure move-in. And that's where we need to be, especially in months like August and September, because it's so busy with quotes. So we need to utilize that. We need to harness that power of the quotes. So yeah, we're back to four figures, which is Daddy Dodo. God, I remember looking at next week's, when I was doing these reports, I remember looking at next week's move-ins and it was down to 125 square foot. I was like, holy shit, this is bad. We don't want that. So yeah, at least we're back up there now. Okay, yeah, the number of times the van was rented out. The Transit was rented out 7. Well done, Transit. And the Luton, it was rented out. Can you guess? Can you? Ha, ha, ha. I bet none of you get it right. But not one single person gets it right. Out of all the 1,000+ people listen to this, it was, are you ready? The suspense is killing me. 9 times the Transit was rented out. So on 2 different days, the van was rented out twice. So the Luton wins again. How about that? By the way, if you don't do free van rental, then you must, because it is free van rental, but you pay for your insurance, and that insurance covers all our costs and more. It's a win for the customer, and it's a win for us as well. Okay, percentage quote breakdown. Where do our quotes come from? Google is 52 quotes. That is 78% of our quotes came from Google. Well done, Google, performing as we'd expect. Word of mouth is 3, so that's 5%. Passing by is 10, so that's 15%. Beverly 24, used before, social media, estate agents, blog, Bing is all 0. Removals and leaflet is 1.49%, so 1% there. Square foot moved in is 1,000. Square foot moved out, I'm going to have a swig of my water, and then you will find out. And hopefully in that time, you've listened to a word from our sponsor as well. Okay, so amount of rooms moved out was 985. So 985. So that means we're positive 15 square foot. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but considering that we lost 360 square foot on them last Monday, that is phenomenal, especially when we was expecting a down negative week as well. So any positive in them circumstances, I will take 15 square foot. Brilliant. I'll have it. So the amount of rooms moved in was 12. Amount of rooms moved out was 11. So total internal rooms occupied was 382 containers. Now, I just want to have a quick word about containers. Now, for me, when I'm looking at a new facility or when I'm looking at buying an existing facility, and I know I'm talking like I've got loads of sites and I've only got 2, 3s opening this next month, but this year. But the foundation is strong. We are okay now to actually expand. Hopefully we'll have at least 2 extra sites open up next year as well. So that means we'll have 5. So yeah, we are expanding. So one advice I can give people looking at self-storage facilities and looking at new areas is have somewhere with a compound where it's fenced off, where you can actually utilize your car parking, because that, my friends, is actual free rent. You don't pay any extra for that yard. And so if you can utilize that by putting external units on, then it'll be absolutely incredible for you. So you might as well have it than not. I mean, we now net £100,000 from our car park at Willoughby, 100 grand that we would never ever have if we didn't have that car park. And so you might as well utilize it when you can. And so if you're looking at a site, then always make sure you look for something with a compound. It's just a boosted bonus. It's a cherry on top of a cake. I'm not saying that it wouldn't work without a compound. It just makes it that much more attractive. So containers in 0, containers out 1. So we've got 28 containers. Car parking is exactly the same. We're taking no more car parking on. So we've got 13 car parking spaces rented out. Store occupancy is 86%. We want to get it back to that 90% mark. That is my Goldilocks zone, 90% mark. And sure as damn it, I want to get to that £1 million site. It's just eluding us right now, isn't it? I think our true period revenue this month is going to be 77,000. So we just need to increase it by 6,000 and we'll be there. So 83,333. That is where we want to be £1 million site. That is my aim. And yeah, I'm sure we'll get there. But it's when do we get there? Are we going to make it this year, or will it be next year when we make it? I'm hoping it's going to be this year, but that'll take some doing. So we'll have to play by ear and see what happens. Okay, average sales per move-in for merchandise was £13.79. Average insurance sold this week was 5,300. So we had £53,000 of insurance sold. So anything over 5,000 is really good. Next week, now this is what makes me really happy. So amount of move-ins due next week is 11. Amount of amount of square foot due next week is 1,210. So that should be over 1,300 square foot. Over 1,500 square foot that we will move in next this week. So 1,500 square foot will be over the moon if we do that. So it's going to be a good week in terms of move-ins. And that is all because we pulled the right lever and turned that switch on. And if we hadn't realized that the supporting KPIs wasn't performing particularly well, then that would continue to impact the move-ins, which would impact on the revenue. And we can't have that. We've got to protect that revenue, protect that most important KPI, the revenue. How can you protect it? By looking at the supporting KPIs and making sure they're performing. If they're not performing, then it will affect your number one KPI. And so we're going to make sure that we protect it and do what we need to do and change things up when we see a trend happening in the wrong direction. And this is why I love doing this podcast. I love doing this podcast because it helps me identify the trends. It makes me look at the figures every single week, every single month, every single quarter. And if I didn't, then I would miss trends and we just wouldn't be in the position we're in now. So that's really good. Okay, weekly revenue. How much did we take last week? I know, having already done this podcast once, the revenue wasn't particularly good. At Stormore, we took £15,138.37 and bounced direct debits of £735.28. At Beverley, the weekly revenue was £3,111.57. So we took £18,249.94. Not a great week on the revenue. However, this week I know is going to be phenomenal. We've got 18 grand in direct debits coming in. Or is it 17 grand? Let's have a check. I'm going to check it for you guys. Yes, £17,335.93 we've got coming in direct debits, £13,331 from Stormore, and £4,004.14 from Beverley. So it'd be a good week. This couldn't be 25 grand this week takings. It's going to be a good week. Let's have a look at our revenue check for August. Now, this isn't good. So we are negative on our revenue check. We are negative between true period revenue and actual revenue, £8,085.67. Don't get me wrong, we're going to take more money this week at Stormore. It reminds me, I've got to do banking as well. Let's tell them to take bank. There we go. Take the money to bank, the cash. So yeah, we're £8,085.67 negative from Stormore, actual revenue between true period revenue. But don't forget, last month it was over £9,000 up. So obviously, if you put 2 months together, then we'll be still positive. So I think that'll be around about £4,000 or £3,000 by the end of the month. Beverly, we are negative there as well. However, this week is going to be a really good week. So I believe that we'll turn this round into a positive. So we're £2,193 down at the minute between actual revenue and true period revenue. But I believe that it will be a positive by the end of the month. Okay, my friends, that is it. I've got to get going. 21 minutes. Holy shit, it was longer than the last one. Right, I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.